Hmm.
Yeah, so it can be inferred from the passage that to gain a more accurate view of the nation's history and culture.
Okay. Scholars should do all of the following except.
Yes, ma'am. This one only. So,
Okay.
like, in the passage, it is implied that if you read too much literature, you might be biased by the limits of literature. So, I went with option C. But the answer is oppositional framework.
Right. So now, what exactly essentially is this passage talking about? That there has been a distorted portrayal. Yes. The
Yes, ma'am.
main central line is, what is the central line of this passage? Central
Like
line, yeah, how will
the
you define?
perspective of Indian history is tinted by like the Orientalist viewpoint or other
Right.
viewpoint.
So now what is happening? What they have said in a way, if we try to make it very simple, is that no matter what has been written also, yes. So for example, there was an attempt to formulate this passage before German Romanticism. There was an attempt to formulate Indian culture as uniform, such formulations being derived from texts that were given priority. The so-called discovery of India was largely selected literature in Sanskrit. Now, what is happening? What is this passage trying to tell us? That it is not about a country's literature. What did they do? They handpicked things. They selected narratives and they created a distorted image of the East in the West. So even if we had some things, they were hand selecting things and showing it in a certain light outside. And even if the translations were happening, they were happening in the direction of felicitating European thought.
Yes,
Look at
ma'am.
this Orientalism, which we can understand broadly as Western perceptions of the Orient, fueled the fantasy and freedom sought by European Romanticism. So, what are they doing? They took up things. It was believed that this Oriental Renaissance would liberate European thought and literature from the increasing focus on discipline and rationality. So, what is happening? They create the distorted Oriental literature. That is what they are trying to say. Yes. Now, it can be inferred from the passage that to gain a more accurate view of the nation's history and culture, scholars should do all of the following except. What other things can be done? What is the question? The question is inverted.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What are they asking you? All the things that can be done, but that one thing that cannot be done.
Yeah, it should be avoided.
Right?
Yeah.
So, examine their own beliefs and biases. Yes. Read widely in the country's literature. Examine the complex reality of that nation's society. These three options, what are they doing?
But like in the passage directly given that if you read in Sanskrit just the selected text,
Hmm.
then you might get a narrow view. So
So what does he?
it
What does
even
he?
develop an oppositional framework.
Yeah. So what is ultimately being said by all of these examples? For example, German Romanticism and next. So what is he trying to elicit? The author is trying to argue this thing in a way, if I put it like this, that while Oriental literature would be, let's say, not essentially romantic, but would be spiritual. Yes, it was the
Yes, ma'am.
spiritual literature of the East, which was being used to promote romanticism in Europe or reawaken romanticism in Europe, which is a contrast. Why? Because European values were completely materialistic. So spirituality and materialism are two opposite ends. Okay. So now, if you want to gain a better perspective, these are the three things that you will do. Accept means what?
Yes. So read widely means you are not limiting yourself to just the selected literature. You are
Hmm.
going through like the entirety of the.
See, this part has not been mentioned anywhere in the passage. Develop an oppositional framework to grasp cultural differences. What would be an oppositional framework? This is exactly what these people did, what the passage is against, like what the author is against, right? Reading widely into the country's literature would mean you are going in depth, so you will not be constrained by the biases. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Examining your own belief system and biases would mean you are being self conscious. Again, that is something that these people weren't. Examining the complex reality of the nation's society brings in contextualism. Exactly the point the author is saying that these people had not done. So basically, what we are looking at that these three things, if they will be done, you would get a more accurate view, which did not happen in this case, right? On the other hand, developing an oppositional framework to grasp cultural differences. If we paraphrase this, basically what they are trying to say is that if somebody is writing things about us in a partial sense, let us also start mirroring that sort of a thing. Is it being said anywhere?
Yeah, is it like creating a false dichotomy between like the West and East?
Yes. That means that because the West has already done this, so then the East should have come up with an oppositional framework in the sense they should have maligned the West. Just in the way these people created a distorted image for the East should have created a distorted image for the West. That is the way the clarity or the differences would come out very clearly.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
oppositional means when you are completely doing the opposite of it.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is something that has not been mentioned anywhere.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is what the question is. The question in a very simple language is uh, what can scholars do? Like let's make it positive, or if we want to create the negative sentence, except here means which of these things should the scholars not do in order to gain a more accurate view of the nation's history and culture?
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
it makes sense.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Hmm? Okay. Any other question in this one?
I don't have.
Hmm?
I don't have any more questions on this.
Okay, in this one, Kathy,
Ma'am, which this
this
is
one is the
slot.
Oriental Literature, slot 3, year 2022.
Okay, 2022. Okay. So ma'am, no ma'am, I have doubt in the slot two paper
You have
of
completed
2020.
just till slot 2.
No, actually, like I completed this slot two of 2022 and then slot two of 2021.
Okay, all right. But do
Yeah.
it,
So I have
slot
doubt
wise.
in
That
that.
way it will become easier to discuss the question. For example, in the next slot,
Yes, ma'am, but actually this.
yeah,
mm,
chalo, theek hai. Okay, so then you have not solved this particular paper, right?
This is slot three or slot because I completed the slot one of 2022. Uh, then I haven't completed the slot third of 2022. So this is I think third slot, right?
Yeah, this is the third slot, 2022.
Okay, yeah. This, I haven't-
You're confused if you've done it or not.
no. I haven't done of slot three. Then I shifted to 2021 RCs of
Okay,
2021. Yeah.
okay, no issues. Okay, all right. I come to the next one then. Now, next one happens to be this one. Okay, yes, sociology, social institutions.
No question mark.
No questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm, okay then. Nature, yes. Nature one. Mm, nature and its bounty.
Yes, ma'am. None of the following statements is implied by the arguments of the passage except, yeah, this one.
Mhm. Hmm. None of the following statements is implied by the arguments of the passage except his none of the following is implied. Okay, so we have to figure out the one thing that has been implied. Again, it's a reversed question. Historically, philosophers have known that the laws of life can be ever. Genetic engineers are the same insofar as they both seek to force evolution in an artificial way. The biological element is as complex as the mechanical one. By being important into machines, purposeful design represents the pinnacle of. Okay, all right. So, what is the central line?
Of the passage,
Yes.
um, has kind of complicated the multiple things which stood out,
Hmm.
like the large, large
What is the
biologic and
central idea of
techno,
the
and how
entire
like
passage? Hmm.
the grounds between bio and techno are being blurred and like it's becoming one and the same in the
Yeah.
with the rise
Now
of
try
technology.
try and completely simplify it into one or two lines because this is again an inference based question. And what they are in a very simple language asking you is what is that one inference that you can actually draw from this?
I went with historically philosophers have known that because it's given in the passage, but the answer
See,
is the engineering.
the main idea behind the entire passage is very simple. Okay. The central idea talks about what? That there is nature and then there is technology. Can I say that?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what is happening? He goes on to elaborate on genetic engineering, okay, and how bioengineers are also there. They have also started working. There is this whole passage that talks about the difference between genetic engineering and then bioengineers and all of that, right? What is the main idea that he is trying to focus on? The central claim of the passage is that nature, of course, has its abundance that it has provided us. But in today's time, what is happening with the help of technology, now nature is slowly becoming mechanized, okay? And machines or mechanism or technology is slowly learning how to embrace nature. There is an exchange that is happening.
Yes, ma'am.
So, what is it saying? Beach mein there is this whole part wherein they are saying bios and everything, all those terms are there. Again, what are they saying? What they mean to say is that the logic of the bios, nature in its own self has a cycle that it follows. It has its own rules. It works by certain functions. Now, technology is getting equipped to a certain level wherein this logic of the bios and this cycle is transferring into the machines. And in this way, indirectly, nature is becoming more and more mechanized. To achieve what?
To achieve,
Like, is it criticizing this thing or is it very neutral about
it's neutral, ma'am. It's not criticizing it.
it? Yes. So, Two concrete trends are happening. Human made things are behaving more lifelike, and life is becoming more engineered. Okay? This is the central idea. Now, here it goes on to say that none of the following statements is implied by the argument of the passage except that means only one is being applied. Okay. Now, historically, philosophers have known that the laws of life can be abstracted and applied elsewhere. Is this the main argument?
No, it's just like a passing thing being.
Hmm?
Yeah, it's not the central idea.
Yes, it's not the central idea. Also, is it anywhere near the main theme of the entire passage or the topic of the passage? This could be a minor added information. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we remove it. Now A is gone.
Yeah.
Yes. Look at others.
Even C is like just focusing on the biological side, not the technological,
There is
right?
this claim that is being made that the biological realm is as complex as the mechanical one. But if you look at the passage closely, do we see any comparison between the two? Which goes on to say that both are equally or befitting competitors or they're equally complex.
No,
There is no comparison between the two. Bios and technos, they're just being mentioned. We have talked about the um, work of nature. We have mentioned about the logic of machines, but there is no straightaway competition between the two, right? So
yes,
this sentence becomes a little cryptic. The biological realm is as complex as the mechanical one. This is not a justified competition. Nowhere have we done this comparison, which is why the logic of BIOS is being imported into machines. This is not the reason that BIOS is being imported into machines. Why is BIOS being imported into machines? What is the reason?
to like mimic like biomimicry,
To
like to mimic the BIOS logic because it might solve problems.
It's very simple. It's basically to accelerate improvements.
Okay, yeah,
See, this is why they have given us this entire understanding, no, of what is bioengineering, uh, what is genetics, how is it all working, why are we using this, why is this whole discussion happening? We have the example of the cattle breeders as well.
yeah,
Why do we have these examples? It's very simple. The central idea behind doing this is to pick up the best possible mate genetically.
yeah,
This is why the discussion is happening. Okay. So C also goes down the drain. The reason is not to mimic the pattern. The reason why this thing is happening is to better your selection. Survival of the fittest wala hi concept hai. Darwin gave that concept. Now, with the help of machines, we are trying to actually create the fittest.
yes,
Understood? So, C also goes
yeah,
down the drain. Then, purposeful design represents the pinnacle of scientific expertise in the service of human betterment and civilizational progress. This is also
yeah.
very
This
weird
also does.
because
Yeah,
is
so
it
it's
being
just B.
simply done for service of the human betterment? No.
Yeah.
Yes. This is a very vague sentence. That purposeful design represents the pinnacle of scientific expertise. We are nowhere at the pinnacle of scientific expertise. We are just at the beginning of it. We've just
Yeah, he
ventured
says something about the
understanding.
future also in the passage.
Yeah. And then we look at B. Genetic engineers and bioengineers are the same in so far as they both seek to force evolution in an artificial way. So here comes in the similarity. This is a possible thing that can be inferred because there is a whole explanation that has been given to us. And then we are understanding what is the difference between the two. What are bioengineers doing? Using artificial methods?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And that is exactly what genetic engineering is in a way doing. Like one thing that is similar between the two is that they are trying to accelerate or better the uh, let's say bioengineering is focusing more on the product and genetic engineering is focusing more on the selection, but both are using artificial means to accelerate a natural process that exists.
Yep.
Yes, so that would be a possible implication of it.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it?
Go ahead.
Okay. Any other question in this passage?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay. So we move on to the next one. Software. Yes.
The first one only.
First one. In the Ebola misdiagnosis case, we can infer that doctors probably missed the forest of the trees because the forest for the trees because they were led by the data collected. Okay, what did you choose?
They got tunnel vision. The digital
The
templates force them to acquire tunnel vision.
okay, okay. Now, can you paraphrase this particular sentence? What does it mean? Do not use the word tunnel vision and just paraphrase it.
Like they miss the whole point because they're focusing on the details.
Okay, but then what is the subject here in the sentence? The subject is the digital templates forced them to acquire tunnel vision. That means, in other language, if I paraphrase it or if I simplify it, what I'm saying is that the software forced them to look at the data in a particular way. Can I say that?
Yeah, like they omitted other important details.
Yes. It is not the templates that have forced them to do something, right? The software did its job. Whatever it was told or expected out of it, whatever function was there within the software, it worked according to that. The software has nothing to do with their misdiagnosis, right?
But like acquiring tunnel vision means that they made a mistake, right?
Yes, they made a mistake, but then is it the digital templates that have forced them to look at a certain thing in a certain way?
Yeah, I think it was the more the human error than
Yes,
the
there is no
software.
machine error. That is what they are saying, that the machine is being created to do a certain thing. What is the author trying to say? Of course, he is looking down upon this thing that with the growing trend of using machines, essentially we are all becoming dumber. That is what the passage centrally tries to communicate. Yes, now when we come to this particular case, what does he go on to talk about? That the doctors were not able to diagnose correctly. Is the software at fault?
I mean, like the design of and choice of the software is where there's something wrong, but the
Yes.
it did its job. Yes,
यहाँ पे direct line. But then they argue. The hospital people, yes, they argue that so and so happened because of this. But then is it the real reason?
no, it is the human error only.
Right?
Yeah, it's that
See,
they were led.
what has the researcher said? He says that of course data is optimized and everything is there. Yes, but then you do not miss the forest for the trees. Medical software, they write, is no replacement for basic history taking, examination skills, and critical thinking. That means that the software has been provided to you to help you out. But this does not mean that you are completely going to omit the human factor that needs to be done,
Yes, ma'am.
right? So this option so entirely is blaming the software itself. So this cannot be a correct inference. We throw it out of the window.
Yeah,
What will be the answer then?
they were led by the data processed by digital.
What does it mean? Rephrase this statement.
That they're like completely dependent on the software at the cost of identifying other important signals.
Right. So what is happening here? This will be a correct option. Why? Again, look at the other options. The data collected were not sufficient for appropriate triage. Again, data collected, we are focusing again on the data. The data that was available to us was insufficient. That is again wrong. They use the wrong type of digital templates for the case. Again, this shows that we are dependent on the machine for the diagnosis. But that is exactly the point that the author is trying to make, that we should not be dependent on the machine to make the diagnosis. It's the doctor. The doctor is already skilled and equipped. The machine is being provided to him so that things become easier for him, but does not mean that they have to depend on the machine to make the diagnosis. So that's why they were led by the data, would simply mean that they completely relied on the data to come with a diagnosis,
Yes, ma'am.
right? So that's why this will be the answer.
Yeah.
Any other question in this one?
No, ma'am.
No. Here, this is a para summary question, yes. 17th is a para summary question.
Yes. Passion Open Studio. Yeah, but like these ones, like I understand where I'm going wrong based on the answer.
In para summaries, you are going like what error you're making.
Yeah, even for the para jumble. Like once I see the answer, I see why I was wrong.
Ah, so now how do we correct that?
Just like two more past year questions.
Right? Because see, if every time you see the answer and then you understand the explanation, that is fine. That means you already understand the concept now, how it works. But this also means that you are not able to apply it.
Yes, ma'am.
Are your para jumbles usually going wrong?
I do have like 50% accuracy.
Okay. Okay, all right. So any other question apart from the RCs in this slot that you want to take up?
Just 1 second, no?
Hmm. Take it up.
Like in the para summary, some of the options seems really close, but like, other than that, it's okay, man. Like, we can move on.
Okay. Para summary. This one or the other one?
Yes, ma'am. The fashion and the alphabets.
Okay. Just a second. Mhm. Cultural textile and standardization practice after integrated. One of the company for inspiration and accelerated things. One is there.
Ma'am, which question number? 17th or 18th?
Yeah, 17, 17. They're all cultural. The one taking respect. Mm, okay, all right. Copy and embroidery design for making them is tantamount to stealing and they need to be compensated. Okay. Media has encouraged mass production. Images are copied effortlessly or camera interest of ethnic communities. Okay. Taking fashion ideas from any cultural group without their consent is a form of appropriation without giving due credit, compensation, and respect. Okay. Cultural collaboration is the need of the hour, need to be showcased and shared worldwide. D to hoga hi nahi. Yes, D goes out of the window.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now, uh, between
I
these
found like
three. Hmm.
between B and C, I was confused because they seem really close.
Well, D is not exactly the summary.
Ma'am, B
Why?
for ball.
Actually, B for ball.
Yeah.
Media has encouraged macro. Okay. Now, when it comes to B, of course, this thing is happening. Yes, social media has been mentioned and all of that is there. Okay, and images has been mentioned, right? But then this is not the central idea. What is the central idea here? Again, media has encouraged mass production. Where are we talking about mass production? We are simply saying that images are being lifted from one place to another, and there is this sharing that is happening. Anything can be shared anywhere without requiring a consent. That is the central idea. The problem is not that the images are being shared. Yes, the problem is that they are being shared but without any consent and without any consideration. That is the central idea. Secondly, mass production is not the problem that we are discussing.
Yeah, it is the
Media
competition.
and mass production are two separate things that are happening.
Yeah.
See, media is different. We are talking about social media proliferation. Then we move down. And then it simply said that it's easier to steal or craft it onto a piece of clothing that is either mass produced or appears on a runway without credit. Yes. So media has not encouraged mass production. These are two different things. Media has simply felicitated the spreading of ideas. That's it. This sentence is doing what? This sentence is stating that media is the one that has encouraged mass production. Is that true?
No, they're like correlated.
Media,
There's not a cause.
yes, media is simply becoming a catalyst in the process. But media is not the reason that mass production is happening. So this half bit becomes wrong.
Yeah.
And then when we come to the C1, C1 is particularly focusing on the main idea that there is that fashion ideas can happen from anywhere. In the name of inspiration, all of these things can come. But then without the consent of people, without any appropriation, this thing is happening like everywhere.
Yeah.
It has pervaded.
Yes.
And we also have to mention compensation. Yes, compensation has been mentioned in the passage. B option completely removes compensation. It is only focusing on the emotional aspect of it. It is not focusing on the monetary compensation, the credit that should be given, the limelight that they should receive. These people do not have a problem with the fact that, okay, things are becoming popular. Indigenous things, they might become popular, that's great. But then when they become great, it has to come with a certain level of economic profitization as well
Yes.
for the community or the culture.
Yeah.
Got it?
I see it now.
Ma'am,
Hmm.
but in the last line, like it has mentioned now, like craft technique and transfer it onto a piece of clothing that is either mass produced. Uh, so like okay, C is the correct like I can connect it, but if like mass produced we can see. So like in the last line it has been mentioned like it that is either mass produced or appears on a runway without credit or compensation.
Yes.
So like I was also confused between A and C.
A. Copying an embroidery
Yeah,
design or
A.
pattern of textile from native communities who
No, no,
own
no.
them.
That is the this one. Media has encouraged mass production. Images are copied and this
See, this is
effortlessly
what I am
without fear of.
explaining now. Media has not encouraged mass production. These are two separate entities. Media has become a catalyst in the spreading of ideas in the name of inspiration. See,
Okay.
magpie mentality. This part is very different. We are all drawn to an
Mm,
exquisite piece of embroidery, a colorful textile, or even a style of dressing that might have originated in another heritage. Yes? But
mm,
this magpie mentality, where all of culture and history is up for grabs as inspiration, has accelerated since the proliferation of
mm,
social media. That means media is not encouraging mass production, media is simply accelerating the process
mm,
of spreading of ideas.
mm.
I might see something, I might not even require or need the permission of somebody, and I can share it with other people on a global stage, and it is up for grabs.
Okay. Got
This
it.
is a
Got it.
separate thing that has happened. Okay? Where once a fashion student might
Mm,
have research and this, it gets done. Then it's easier. This is a fact that has been stated that as a result of this easy acceleration of spreading of information via social media, it has become rather easy to steal a particular idea and then transfer it onto something which is either a part
mm,
of mass production or a runway. This is a fact that has been told us. But is social media directly responsible for encouraging mass production? That if like this sentence basically means that because of social media now we have mass production, else we wouldn't have had it.
mm.
That is completely not true. Both of them are unrelated things. Media is only contributing in the spreading of ideas. How that idea is reaching the runway is another story altogether. Media is an accelerant. It's not the sole cause of encouraged mass production. यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है? Either mass production or appears on a runway without credit. So basically, we are simply talking about stealing an idea without compensating the original community from which the idea has been picked up. And then the second part, images are copied effortlessly. Okay, fine. Now, are only images being copied or ideas are being taken up? It's a very confusing option. The language is very tricky. Yes, images are being copied and then nothing else has been mentioned. We are not only looking at the human aspect of it, we are also looking at the consent and compensation part of it. So this correlation that has been created is not correct. क्लियर हुआ ख्याति?
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
समझ में आया? The
Hmm.
simple words, key words that are important for us is that ये देखो has accelerated since the proliferation of social media. So the only thing that media is responsible for is spreading of ideas. ये अलग से एक
Correct.
fact है. The next statement is an added. Okay.
Yes,
Then
ma'am. Got it.
18, then 19. Then Vinay, what was the next question you had said?
No, I thought I did not get, but I got it. So this one only also better.
Okay. You got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Okay, so we are done with 2022 slot 3. Now Vinay, I guess you have completed till like 2021 slot 1 and slot 2, right?
No, 2022 only, ma'am.
Okay, you've just completed 2022, not started with 21.
No, I'll start.
Okay, all right. So now tell me something. In the next session, do you people want to discuss previous papers or you want to give a mock?
I think mock would be beneficial.
Yes, that would be beneficial.
Okay, all right. So then I'll see, I'll have a word, although the timetable has been made. Probably I'll see if I can schedule a mock instead. So then we'll keep a mock, okay? A 40 minutes mock in the next session,
Okay, ma'am.
okay? All right, so that's it for today because I guess now Vinay, you have done some other set, Khyati, you have done some other set, so it would make no sense, yes, to randomly
Hmm.
discuss a paper. My one suggestion that I do have for you people is that try and finish papers up till 2018, anyhow, because the verbal section is pretty score. Okay, so try and finish till 2018 if that's possible. Daily sit down with one slot. It hardly takes 40 minutes. Solve it and move ahead.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So that's it for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
I like if like I wanted to discuss my doubts for like slot
Yeah,
2 and
Kathy,
of
your voice is
2022 and
your
slot
voice is
2 of
breaking.
so should okay, okay, okay.
Hello.
Ma'am, actually just I wanted to ask like if I hello, yeah, I'm audible. Hello.
Yeah, now you're clearer.
Okay, okay.
Hmm.
Ma'am, so like my doubts like of slot 2 of 2022 and 21. So should I send you on the in the group, or like tomorrow should I discuss my doubts?
Just a second. Slot to 2022. If you want, we can take them up right now as well.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And as far as 2021 is considered, you can post them on our group, VRC group. In fact,
Okay,
I'll
okay.
suggest you people that if you people have any doubts in any of the previous papers, no, you can directly put it in the
Hmm.
group. Put down the question numbers. I can send you audio files as well. For example, Yash had put up that passage, but then nobody solved it. And I don't know if somebody tried, so then they have not answered anything. That was the reason I had kept it unanswered. So now I will answer it. Just a second. I'll be sharing the screen. 2022. No, 2022, slot 2. Just a second. Mhm. Are you appearing for that as well, Kathy? Mhm. Yeah, 2022, slot 2. This is the octopus passage. Any
Ma'am,
doubts in the octopus? Yeah,
since we already did slot two, can I leave the session if it's okay?
I'm not able to hear you with it. What?
Yes, ma'am. Since we already did slot two, could I leave the session if it's okay?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, beta. Yes, Kathy.
Yeah, ma'am, this one.
Yeah.
Uh, second question.
Second question in the octopus one. All of the following
Yes,
are
ma'am.
reasons for octopuses being misfits except that they, which is one of the reasons that
No, no,
would,
ma'am. I think in this the question is different. Like based on the passage, we can infer that all of the following statements, if true, the,
hmm,
I think the first one. Okay, in this the first one is the question.
your voice is again breaking, dear.
Ma'am, the first one. This based on
So,
wait,
what
wait.
exactly is your
Like the question is based on the passage. Wait, your voice is actually.
the
Ma'am, the
question is
I
saying,
will like
uh,
the question is based on the passage, we can infer that all of the following statements, if true, will weaken the following adaptness of cephalopods except. So, like, I think in your passage, this is
you are
not
discussing
the third
camouflage
one.
or misfits.
Then, yes, ma'am. Yes, the last one, the fourth one. Sorry, yeah, the fourth one.
I'm very confused. If you see, the order is different in every file. Okay. So, you
Hmm.
have to, based on the passage, we can infer that all of the following statements, if true. would weaken the
Hmm.
camouflaging adaptness of cephalopods except. So, what are we basically trying to say? Let's invert the sentence a little bit. Okay. We are trying to look for that one thing that all the others are going to weaken the claim, but then there will be one that will make it stronger. We have to look for the stronger one.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yes,
Hmm. Hmm.
which
Hmm.
proves that uh, they are actually good at this. Yes, this is what we have to look for. Okay,
Hmm.
if
Hmm.
true, would weaken the camouflaging adaptness of cephalopods except. So which one is going to make it stronger?
So ma'am, like, okay, so okay, we have to see like which statement is like supporting like in a stronger way, right?
Hmm.
Okay. Mhm. So
All of these
like
statements
I
are going
went
to
to the options
weaken.
that
Hmm.
hmm. So like I was confused between the this one A and B because like B and C it was clear like it was already mentioned in the passage like the temperature of water
Hmm.
at the depths like so basically it is like weakening the like adaptness of cephalopods but like A and
Hmm.
D I was confused.
Okay. So see, what is the passage telling us?
Like basically like the like they are telling about the
When they want to
octopuses
change the
and
uh, see when they want to change the
yeah
color,
yeah
what
yeah
are they going to do?
they
See, well, wait
that is
about
like they
what
change their color. Yeah.
that is fine. See, well, what about other colors? Cue the iridophores. Think of a second level of skin that has thin stacks of cells. These can reflect light back at different
Mm,
wavelengths. Okay, this is what we are talking about.
mm,
That
mm,
means what? What is happening here?
mm,
That
mm,
there is a muscle movement that is happening.
that- mm,
Okay.
mm,
This property of holograms, oil, and other surfaces is called iridescence. Papillae are sections of the skin that can be deformed to make the texture bumpy. This is a different thing altogether. So now our clue lies here. Pigment sacs, and then what are they doing to it?
mm,
Look at the part. So we are
mm.
focusing on what? Come back to the options. Okay? Now, the hydrostatic pressure, it has nothing to do with it. Then, reflecting of the colors red, green, and yellow, this is again not at all related. Then, the temperature of water at the depths at which cephalopods reside renders the transmission of neural signals difficult. Where did you find it? Is anything mentioned about that?
No, the last option D, it's not mentioned in the passage.
है ना? उसके बारे में कोई बात ही नहीं हो रही है. तो बचेगा क्या?
Mm, okay, so
बच
like basically like
हमें
what actually wherever
हम्म
I got confused in the question only. What actually the question is asking, like if we talk about this particular question, so just it's
हम्म
asking like would weaken the adaptness of Cephalopod force except. Except means like we have to tell like what is actually is making the statement stronger for the adaptness of Cephalopod force, or like
Yes,
what actually.
yes, उल्टा पूछ रहे हो तुम, ट्विस्ट करके पूछ लिया है कि
Okay.
पैसेज पढ़ लिया हमने. नाउ वी कैन इन्फर और दैट ऑल ऑफ द फॉलोइंग
Hmm.
स्टेटमेंट्स, इफ ट्रू, इफ these statements go true, ठीक है, they would weaken the
Hmm.
camouflaging adaptness of cephalopods. Okay, so that means these sentences are
Hmm.
designed to weaken the
Hmm.
claim that they have very
Hmm.
good, they are good at camouflaging, except that means
Hmm.
one of these statements is not actually helping.
Hmm.
Yes, it
Hmm.
is going to focus on the strength of cephalopods at camouflaging.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
our
So
option
the
would be A.
option. Hmm. Hmm. But ma'am, in the passage, it's not mentioned anywhere the number of chromatophores and cephalophores is half the number of this thing. So, okay, like if we see the option on the basis of option, we
Yes,
can choose the D one. But like it's
in
not
your
being
case,
mentioned in
B
the
would be
passage
different.
itself.
Just for example, in my sheet, it's A. The number of chromatophores in cephalopods is half the number of iridophores and leucophores.
Uh, hmm. I think
Okay,
it's not
we have,
mentioned in the
see, there
passage.
is no mention of
Okay, but
what is the ratio
on the
of A.
basis of option, we can choose the this one.
Yes, we
Hmm.
do not have an idea of the number of chromatophores and what is the ratio that is required for this to
Hmm.
happen, right? So if this happens to be true,
Hmm.
this is
Right.
the
Right.
answer choice that we'll be looking for.
Hmm.
है ना? Because
Hmm. Hmm.
the passage has not mentioned anything about the ratio. So then
Hmm.
we, like, it's not possible for us to conclude na, that what will happen as a result of this number if it changes.
Hmm.
All we know is that these all work in
Hmm.
conjunction. But what is the ratio in which they have to be there? We do not know about that. So can we really make this claim? We can't, because there is no correlation of a number or ratio that is provided to us.
Hmm.
Got it?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
क्लियर हुआ? भी जिसके बारे में कुछ दिया ही नहीं, जिस रेशियो को तुम्हें स्पेसिफाई किया ही नहीं गया है, उसके बेसिस पे
Hmm.
कैन यू रियली कम अप विद अ क्लेम दैट दिस विल
Yes.
वीकन और दिस विल
Hmm.
स्ट्रेंथन द
Hmm.
camouflaging property?
Then question number 9.
Question number,
Yes, ma'am. Hmm.
your question numbering would be different here. ये वाला पैसेज हो गया, इसमें कोई और क्वेश्चन है? ख्याति, am I audible? You're not audible, dear. ख्याति, am I audible to you? You can type in. I don't know if you're able to hear me or not. Can you read the message? Kathy, am I audible? If I am, please take a look at your chat box. Let me try and reach you. Kathy, I'm ending the session for now. You get in touch with me on WhatsApp, okay? If you're able to hear me.